Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. They didn't give my bio because it's nowhere near as impressive, but that's okay. Santhi, it's great to see you in person.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Being a part of this. The one thing I do want to add to your resume, though, not just CMO at Hershey's, but on the Forbes list of most influential CMOs in the world. So I know you're not going to say it, so I'm going to say it. That's amazing. Quick plug. Please do that. Quick plug, Sprinklr is a partner of Forbes in putting together that list, so always amazing too. I mean, might as well mention it while I'm here. Always amazing to meet a CMO from that list. And you heard the bio, the background, perfect person to talk to about building a brand for the future with the consumer at the center. So we'll start with an easy question. Tell me what's going to happen in the future. More specifically, I suppose, what are your recommendations? What are you thinking about when you hear building a brand for the future?
Sure, nobody has a crystal ball for sure, but what I would encourage my team and people who come to me and ask us questions is to leverage the 3 A's. The first A is to adopt. So, and by that I mean adopting new consumers. The new consumer is the future, and you can be a traditional brand which is established for over 100 years, or you could be a new emerging brand, and you need to adopt the emerging consumer and be on trend with them. Understand where they live, what they believe in, whether they're gaming on the metaverse, whatever they do, are they shopping online or on social commerce? We need to know that and be in line with them to add relevance and meaning to what they do and what they believe in. The second one is adapt. And by that I say, even my team at Wells, the traditional marketing approach no longer holds true. How can we be agile in our marketing approach so that we deliver an omni-channel seamless experience to the consumer, the shopper, wherever they are? So adopt new marketing tactics, new processes to be in line with the consumer. And the third is accelerate. The fundamentals don't change. To my peers, we all know the fundamentals don't change. It is about knowing your consumer, shopper, translating that insight all the way to execution. And I believe in excellent execution. That doesn't go away. Whatever channel you are, whichever consumer it is, and accelerating it and the ability to be agile and go to market with speed will be your differentiator. And those are the 3 things: adopt, adapt, accelerate, that I would recommend to build the future of brands.
I love that. We're going to come back to agility for sure, but let's talk about developing the teams, so the skill sets and the competencies that are required to deliver on those 3 A's.
Yeah, early my dad is a marketer, and he used to say, it's like, hey, you are an engineer, why did you go into marketing? And the age-old perception was, oh, marketing is all about the artsy piece, and that was age-old, 60 years ago. My 85-year-old dad would say, it's like, oh, you are in marketing, the fluffy side, and so there is an art to it, where I expect my team to be creative, and that continues to be there. I expect my team to be good communicators, that continues to be there. But there is the science piece of it, which as an engineer I bring to the table, which is the data centricity. I tell my future team members, even my own daughter for that matter, is to adopt data science. Be comfortable with data. If you are not comfortable mining Excel sheets and data and using SQL programming, you are behind the curve. You need to be comfortable with data, be able to interpret, analyze, and synthesize to make reasonable implications, and to, of course, think critically with the data, and to come up with solutions to combine the art and the science. But most importantly is your ability to embrace and adopt new technologies. And that's where, everyone, I have been able to always adapt and learn new technologies, and I expect the future generation to do the same. It's not just what they're comfortable now, but what will happen when they are 30 years from now. So integrating the art and science and technology and being comfortable with embracing all those three will be the future of marketing. And that's what I expect my teams to build capabilities and competencies on.
I love that. When I found out we were going to be talking today, of course, I went to LinkedIn to see what you're posting, what are you talking about. So I'm searching in the right places. And right at the top, I saw that you had a post about the Digital Food and Beverage Summit in Austin that happened recently, and really a great post with some of your key takeaways. And you talked about data centricity, so let's go there. I wrote some of this down. You wrote, one of the key takeaways is listening to consumers on social media, in stores, and online. So again, love the unified approach to listening. If I don't have it all, I don't have any of it, so I love that. That turns into an ocean of data. And I'm sure there are people in the room who think, I have no problem getting data. So what are your recommendations about turning all that data first into actionable insight, and then getting into the hands of the right teams who can use it to make decisions to positively impact the consumer?
And yeah, good question. And in many companies, I've noticed data is in silos. And the first step is democratization of data, if I might say, is making the data accessible and available to everyone in the team. And that's the job of a leader, to set the tone and to bring teams together. So second goes back to bringing teams together in one place. And most recently, I would say even just this week, at Wells, I brought together my marketing team, my sales team, my transformation team, my finance team. Everybody had various pieces of data, the shopper, the digital media, and it was complete transparency of all the pieces of data, people looking at it together to solve a problem at hand. And third is the leader being curious enough and also listening to various points of view. It may be the quietest person in the room, but being conscious enough to inquire. Hey, so-and-so, Ricardo, you did not speak up, but you are thinking hard. So let me hear what you're processing. It's not just the vocal person in the room, but integrate everybody's perspective into the conversation. So it's making sure that the data is available, bringing the teams together, and then encouraging the diversity of thought. And as we get these teams together, then it is about asking the right questions. You can have an ocean of data, to your point, but you need to know what is the question that needs to be answered, and then you peel the layers of the onion and ask the why, to get to the root cause, and of course you solve for the problem at hand and together as a team. And we have been able to do that consistently, and most recently too at Wells, as a collaborative environment, we have been able to bring teams together to solve problems and go with speed.
In one of our earlier conversations, I love when you said, there's no such thing as my data.
Yep.
Right, this is all about collaboration, and I think, you speak with such passion about cross-functional collaboration. That came out very clear in our conversations. Again, love that as a priority for large enterprises. I'm betting there are people in the room, or people who are going to watch this, who would love to do more cross-functional collaboration in their organization and find it very difficult. Some people love their silos, it turns out. So how do you approach that? If I'm at a place where, frankly, cross-functional collaboration does not seem to be happening nearly enough, how do I make that more part of the culture?
First of all, it comes from setting expectations as a leader and setting the tone for the conversation. So as a leader, when I came into Wells, it's like I have, in every marketing planning meeting, I have now a shopper marketer, a digital marketer, a sales counterpart. Everybody is there together, my insights person. So bringing that team together is the role of the leadership, and to set the tone, to say, I need everybody to be here. Is everybody included in the conversation? So that's one. Second, I mean, it just does not have to happen. I mean, I might have the intent and set the tone, but it has to be carried through. I expect my team members to bring everybody along. So it is, once you set the expectation, then I expect my team members to take the initiative. So taking initiative for each one, it's not a one person. I can't do it, sit here in my office or out in the stores, expect everybody to collaborate. When I'm not in the room, is the team collaborating? So I need to have the right people in the team who are collaborative and who want to collaborate. And third is assume positive intent, right? Just because somebody didn't email you or like, oh, I was not CC'd on this email, they're forgetting me, I was not invited to this meeting. I mean, there was no malintent. They just probably forgot in this busyness. Probably a baby crying and a dog barking in the room, and they was like, click the button and there it goes. You got missed out, sorry, but go reach out. Reach out for inclusion, reach out to participate. Everybody wants to work with you. It doesn't matter which country, which function, we're all people. We all make mistakes, we all want to be included, and there's no such thing as everybody is out to get you. It's about everybody coming together and wanting to work with each other. So reach out, don't be the shy person there. Yes, it's tough. But hey, can I come to this meeting? As simple as that. Hey, I would love to join, I have something to contribute. When people see that you're contributing, that you're adding value, you will always be top of mind. That is the key, is how are you adding value to the rest of the group? It may not be your expertise. It's like, hey, have you thought about this? Oh, I see something in this data. Bring up ideas. Everybody has ideas. And that's the way you can add value to the team.
That's great. Assuming positive intent, I think we could all use that in all sorts of categories of our lives these days. That would be great. And again, you talk about the diversity of point of view in even more diverse ways than we're talking about so far. It is that quiet person in the room. And for a lot of the enterprises and the brands you all represent here, certainly in your case, we're all consumers too. So we all have had an in-store experience or an online experience, or when we have some feedback, and this is, I'm a human being, this is what I went through. I wonder how many, and you talk about asking the right questions, I wonder how many more human beings are having that experience that I had, and they won't know I had that experience if I don't speak up and say it. Yeah. I love that. And you've only been at Wells for how long?
It's going to be 90 days soon.
90 days. Wow. So
and I'm enjoying it.
Good to know. One thing we can talk about, and this is a lot broader than just your industry, but you're onboarding into this role, you're a chief, you got teams who are hybrid, teams who are working from home, you're talking about, with passion about collaboration. How are you doing that in this new environment?
Again, I see 3 principles: listen, learn, connect. So I've been on a journey of listening to my cross-functional teams. I have over 300 people in my broad organization, sales, marketing insights across the country. I have made it my point not only to connect with each one of my members twice during my 90 days, one-on-one. 300 people, I've connected with them at least twice. Whether it be through my first big broad meeting, and then individually with each of my team members through virtual chats. Not everybody is available, but I have made it a point to connect 8 to 10 people at a time to have virtual chats. I visited the plants twice to get the reality twice and understand the operational supply chain realities which you all are dealing with. And I've visited the stores across the countries. I mean, I've not been able to visit everywhere as I would love to, but at least I've visited the extremities, as I call it. Of course, Chicago, Pennsylvania, but gone to Texas, California, Seattle, the Charlottes, the middle of, to get some diverse perspective on the ground, visiting stores to get perspective. So throughout this process, I'm listening to understand and to learn the business, but at the same time, I'm connecting with people. And through this process, I've also worked with my customers, my retail partners, whether it be Walmart, Albertsons, Kroger, top to top, to have conversation and to listen to them as to what their challenges are. And my team will say, I have been in focus groups and ethnographies. I'm down and dirty, rolling up my sleeves, it doesn't matter. I want to listen to the consumer, to the customer, to my employees, to my plants. And through this process, we have been also able to co-create a commercial strategy for 2023. And we are looking forward to the future, to how we will shape it as we go along.
That is the second listening mention so far, no pun intended. And I love, that, again, across all parts of your business. Obviously to the consumer, how's it going, and what are our products, but internally, right? Happy employees make for happy consumers, and the other way around. And then in your case, being for a B2B2C organization, listening to your customers and those stores. We talked earlier about, okay, all this data, turn it into an insight, get it into the hands of the right people. Some of the right people are gonna be content creators. And I mentioned we were gonna come back to agility, and we are, and I'm coming back to your LinkedIn post. Another great point you made on there was, really important to be agile with content creation. And you called out across touch points, which is a lot, particularly because we are in this creator economy. So what are some of your examples of teams sort of rapidly responding to a content opportunity and how they do it?
Sure, I have plenty within my team that we've been able to execute and pivot over the past 90 days with my passion for leveraging social media and the creator economy. I'll give you a few examples to highlight so that I'm going to give a few examples, maybe a couple, and then we'll save one for later as well, so that my brand teams don't get offended here. I'm not being partial. But a couple that I would like to highlight, one is on our mothership brand, Blue Bunny. Our teams, typically like everyone, we started the marketing briefing process, the IMC process, a year ago, so that you can have a big idea and a campaign ready to launch. And the team has done a fantastic job with getting mentions on Saturday Night Live and a great PR with lots of earned media. So that's fantastic. That said, what I am proud of the team that we've been able to accomplish is how the Blue Bunny team, with our agency partners at Stagwell, have been able to listen to the consumer trends that are happening now and here, and be able to develop programs. So one such insight that they observed was, when does a consumer, especially the Blue Bunny consumer, eat ice cream? It is, middle income consumer, target consumer, they're stressed out during the pandemic, they want to lift themselves up, and that's the time that they reach out for the practical, down-to-earth Blue Bunny ice cream. So how can we leverage that insight? The team came up with a program to talk about eating ice cream to lift you up during stress, and give a day off to all people who posted content related to how they would celebrate taking a day off and with their ice cream. So with this insight, not only did the team communicate externally, but to your point about leveraging internal advocates, our employees who are the best brand advocates for us, is to create that viral excitement around this whole topic of lift you up during those stressful moments with a Blue Bunny ice cream, both externally and internally. We got a huge double the engagement than we've had before, more impressions, and a great return on our investment. So huge kudos to the team, and it was all done very quickly, and a great program that I can share. The other program that I'm impressed by is on Bomb Pop, which is a water ice. I see some nods here, some people know it, probably the younger generation. It's targeting tweens. And again, the other socially relevant insight there was tweens want to be free of judgment, to be themselves, and to express themselves the way they want it. Whether they are interested in arts, whether they are interested in sports, whether they are interested in gaming, or whatever it is, they want to be free. So we leveraged that particular insight on social media and asked tweens to post about the various ways they express themselves, express their passions. And that, with the partners at the agency, has been a tremendous success, leading to about triple the increase in sales. So that's been a great vehicle for engagement with our target audience. So those are two examples where we have listened to social content and developed campaigns on those touch points and increased not only engagement but also drove conversion.
And there's a kind of famous example from your time at Hershey's that I'll talk about, which is, if you guys remember this, again, I've been lucky enough to be in the offices, so I've seen the command center, I know these stories, but there was I think it was a Christmas tree Reese's cup that was released that a lot of people on social media thought resembled a different brown substance and not really a tree, and started to post about that. And your team sort of rapidly jumped on that and turned into a campaign that basically was all trees are beautiful, and it's what's on the inside that counts. And that is, I mean, so you're talking about sort of, proactive marketing campaigns. That is taking crisis and turning it into opportunity in an amazing way. So many ways you benefit from starting with data, turning it into insight, getting in the hands of the right people. You have to have the right people in place, obviously.
Yep.
You can't hire those people the day that story breaks.
Absolutely, and that goes to the mindset of the team, having the right partners from an agency standpoint, and also agility from our teams.
And the thing you also talked about there with the tween example was UGC.
Yep.
So I know that's something also you're very passionate about, something that I think probably a lot of folks in this room are thinking about how to take advantage of. I think the way you describe it is the best way to discuss it. How should they be thinking about acquiring differentiated UGC and doing that at scale?
Sure. First of all, for context, user-generated content is a effective and efficient way to be authentic with the consumer, be relevant with speed. And the challenge that most people ask me is, hey, how can I own this? I mean, everybody is posting anything and everything about every chocolate or every ice cream. How do I make it ownable for me and for my brand? And one of the examples that I would say that we have been able to do recently at Wells to deliver a differentiated, ownable campaign with UGC at scale, where we uncovered through social listening and through our insights, what are the ownable pieces of our brand, which was for our Halo Top brand. Halo Top, which you all probably know, I see some nods here, all the taste for low calories, or all the taste for low sugar. And that particular brand, the recognizable assets were the golden lid, which communicated the premiumness, and I see again nods here, so glad to see that it's recognizable. And the other one is a unique contemporary design of the brand. And what we noticed in social media was the advocates of our consumers were actually celebrating with a cup as a birthday hat for various functions, and they're having fun with it. So how do we leverage that key behavior across various consumers? So we identified influencers and brand advocates who are loyal to a brand, and that allows them to be authentic in their voice and tone when they share content. So that's one, is identifying the influencers and advocates. The second is having some guardrails to amplify the content. So if an influencer posts on it, which there are plenty of influencers posting content on Halo Top, how do we pick which ones to amplify? So having some guardrails and principles allows us to amplify those relevant content that is meaningful to us as a brand. And I expect my brand marketers to own the messaging, and having that connection of understanding the influencers and advocates, knowing the principles, and giving freedom to the influencers to evolve the brand with you is key to driving the differentiation. The good fact is that we have the lid and cup in every UGC that we have, and that becomes ownable to us. And it's now scalable because it's an automatic program. And so we have been able to get not only engagement, but also brand identity with our UGC.
I love this. So we're talking a lot about the future. That's the name of our session, but the front end of our session is championing your consumer. So I love, again, this being consumer-centric. You've got an amazing career. How are CPGs better today than maybe you were earlier in your career at truly championing the consumer, putting them, a lot of people will say, we're consumer-centric. And then you read their strategies and they're not. So how are they getting better in your opinion?
So I don't know whether it's better. I think I would say it's how can we continue to be relevant to the day and time that we are there, right? So for the situation at that time, that was probably the right thing to do. For the situation that's today and for the future, what do we need to be doing? So one, I would say is, as I started off and I mentioned, embracing an omni-channel or delivering a seamless omni-channel experience for the consumer is key. And by that I mean not just like, okay, all channels, we are going to be there. No, but customizing the content to every touch point across every channel. So if we are driving engagement at certain vehicles, what is the purpose of that vehicle? What is the content for the vehicle? If it is going to be in store, what is it? What is the messaging, and are we delivering the message that the shopper needs at that point? Or if we are in e-commerce, what is that message that they need to see? So customizing the content to that touch point. Then second point there is also personalizing the message to an individual, and that is what CPG companies need to be doing to deliver agile, personalized communication. And related to that will also be how can we leverage consumers to build the brand. The authenticity of the brand can be developed only if we evolve our brand with our consumers. It's not the static, okay, I have a brand equity pyramid and I'm going to stick with my guardrails. We have to evolve our brand with the consumer, and we need to have some flexibility. And last but not least, I would say, is e-commerce. It's here and now, and new models of delivering an unmet or an unarticulated need, whether it be through 1 hour delivery, 30-minute delivery, or adding more value to a consumer experience, and how do we deliver that through our supply chain mechanisms will be key for success.
Oh, there's so many follow-ups there. We're going to need a separate session. Sorry to break the schedule. Let's, at least where you ended, let's talk about that e-commerce. Direct-to-consumer came up a little bit earlier in today's session too. Big conversation in the CPG world. Certainly there's some revenue opportunities there. There's also, we heard about first-party data opportunities earlier. and just kind of owning the brand experience. And you know, there's no middle person there to worry about. How are you thinking about the direct-to-consumer experience, whether that means e-commerce or conversational commerce or just, you know, listening and engaging and serving them at, you know, in a personalized way? How are you thinking about that, and how do you balance it with those important customer relationships you have at the stores and the sites?
So e-commerce is here to stay, right? Everybody knows it, it's growing. So there's no shortcutting it. The second thing is our traditional retail partners know that too. So whether it be Walmart.com, Target.com, they are all in it. So we need to partner with them as one vehicle to ride with the technologies that they're developing so that it is a cohesive in-store and online experience. Of course, there's a pure place that we will have to partner depending on the channel. And your own D2C site will also be important. But last but not least, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of new models coming in, whether it be Rappi, Corner Shop, GoPuff, whatever be that new emerging model, be early in that space and build relationship with those vendors to drive growth with them.
I have a list of questions I would love to keep asking you about, but we are going to run out of time, so I want to make sure to give you an opportunity. Knowing this is the topic, building a brand for the future, championing your consumers, is there anything you would want to make sure to touch on that my questions haven't given the opportunity to?
Thank you. Thank you for the great questions. The one thing that I would add from a personal standpoint is, and I say to every one of my team members and my mentees, is everyone brings a unique talent and skill set. Don't be curtailed by the expectations or the behaviors that a company expects or you perceive that they expect. Be authentic to who you are, whether you want to be direct, whether you want to be the quiet person, or whether you want to dress up with your traditional chain, so be it, or whether you want to come in jogging suits, so be it, as I heard. Be your authentic self and bring your full you, and that's how you add value and complement others to drive growth.
I love that. Okay, last question, hard-hitting journalism here. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Halo Top Strawberry.
Get it on your list. Santhi, thank you so much.
Thank you.